and chips. It's our part 2 of our 2-part Mac special. If you did miss the last show, then don't hesitate, you can always go back and watch that video. Today we're going to be discussing 20 videos, which we will put the links for in the comments box below, but you can also go onto our website, mtd@mac.com. How's everyone doing?
Really good. It's good to have Paul this side of the table.
It is.
I feel a lot slimmer with Paul here.
Where's the table?
You've had it.
It's always food. Right, okay, so 20 videos we're going to discuss, all from the Mac show. So our first video is Axe and Status.
This is an interesting one, isn't it? Because, I mean, for me, looking at this laser from Derma, it positions them now to compete against, obviously, other companies that offer this sort of technology. Previously, you'd have known Derma for press brakes and guillotines and various other machines. But now this is a true fibre laser that's got up to 8 kilowatts of power.
Yeah, and this laser sector, it kind of stood still for a long time, didn't it? But now there's new players on there. Fanuc offering it, obviously Derma for Axe and Status. There's new technology. Fiber's not so new. We've got Mazda with the DDL and what have you, but it's also about getting clean cuts. It's about also cutting different types of materials and different depths of cut as well, which you couldn't previously. That one, 4 kilowatts.
The intricacy.
4 kilowatts up to 20 millimeters thick.
Yeah,
and obviously a lot smaller.
But they also do have up to the 8 kilowatt machine, full 5-axis 3D cutting as well. Obviously, all available there from Axe and Status.
So next up was Hella, and I know they had a gentleman, I don't know his name, my apologies, who had just retired.
Yes, I forget who that is as well. However,
is this Angel?
The one thing with Hella, they're very big into the automotive sector, but aerospace is a key market for them now, and they've got a new 5-axis machine tool, but the HF. But one thing I'm doing here is interviewing.
Interviewing.
Matthias is the MD of Hella UK and big into Industry 4. That's what they're really pushing here.
Well, that machine's made in Redditch, isn't it? The
HF.
Yeah. It's the new 5-axis, and that is going to be a very, very popular machine for them. And actually, to go to their factory to see that being built, is that a big thing they were pushing at the show as well?
Yeah.
Okay, you're here in Birmingham, but come to Redditch and see it all happening. And that is Matthias, and very good on camera as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Very knowledgeable, as you'd expect.
And they were talking about cutting tools, work pieces, sensors, and everything to do with the Industry 4.
They were indeed.
Okay, next up is DTS.
Great stand. Normally DTS go to Mac and they don't actually take a machine, but this year they took the Korean machine. They've always
cost, isn't it?
It is cost, and the Korean machines are big machines. It's not like just putting a small lathe onto your booth. It's actually a huge machine. This one I think has got about a 3-meter x-axis, but it was a full 5-axis machine. One of the things they were doing as well was cutting steel, which again you sometimes go to the shows and you see aluminium machining demos, but this was actually doing some heavy duty cuts on steel as well, and actually sold one of these machines from the stand.
Makes me laugh. This is like 2.5 meters by 1 meter and refers to it as the baby. It's like that's basically where Korea starts, and it goes up from there.
Integrated table in the 5-axis there for your 5th axis, and obviously your head there, which will rotate from horizontal to vertical. They've had a lot of success with the normal machines and all the Korea range, and as you say, it starts at this and goes.
And that's why they only do Mac every couple of years, to be honest, because it takes so long to get the machines in. Right, Heimer next.
Yeah, well, I had a look at the linear presetter with Phil. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the best presetters I've seen. It's automatic, it's linear, it saves a lot of setup time, it's foolproof because there's no human intervention in regards to setting of the tool. And Phil was really emphasising the return of investment with a presetter. And this is something that I'd have never associated a presetter with.
Do they take this on the van that goes around the UK as well?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
it was from Fronton. They actually make them out in Fronton because they bought from. It was all derived from DMG Mori actually, where they make them.
Right.
So,
but the return on investment. Carry on what you're saying.
Yeah, the return of investment was a really big. There's big emphasis on this return of investment. It's something I wouldn't have associated presetters with. The connectivity with the machine tool as well.
Yeah. Okay, Greta.
Yeah, really pushing the EWS a little bit from our angle or the video. It's very much, I mean, they're one of Germany's biggest manufacturers of static and driven tooling. A big emphasis for EWS at Mac.
And they're following suit with a lot of other manufacturers, but they're doing these where the coolant drives the tools.
Yeah,
it's
a big thing, isn't it?
Tell me about it. I understand that, but will you get the same power? You get a lot of speed.
You don't get the torque, but you get the speed. But it would be for ball nose finishing. You know, you might have a machine tool with 20,000 RPM. You can put one of those on. You could double treble.
You can get up to 60,000
Yeah,
RPM,
exactly what you're seeing there.
true as well. But the range was extensive as well. When I watched this, it is angled tool holders and so forth.
Sorry, no pressure.
Mapal, great innovators of tooling. I mean, their R&D spend is huge. I mean, Joe will know this from his machine tool cutting days, but. One thing they're pushing at the moment, they've got PCD tooling, but very much on powertrain. So therefore, as the normal engine is going to more battery, they've got special. They're going back to the basics of actually having bespoke tooling. That's what this is.
What I like about it, for such a large company, they manoeuvre quickly. When there's a slight change in the industry, you find these are one of the first players to actually bring product to market to fix that issue.
They're mainly specialist tools, though. Do they do?
They do
kind of out of the box
well.
standards as well.
Yeah. A high percentage of it will be out of the box specials. There might be a special tool holder in some instances, but the consumable product
for a lot of other companies as well.
Special.
And they cover in every area. I mean, obviously here we see drills, and are we talking? They cover turning
PCD,
as well.
Yeah. As I say, they're a solution provider for tooling.
Right. Okay, so next up is Herco machines.
Lovely new machine this, the BX50 bridge mill. You'll see here constructed slightly differently to their normal vertical machining centres. Got a big working envelope, over 900 millimetres in the y-axis. Well, it's just the fact that you've got that bridge construction. So wherever the spindle is in the area of the table where it's machining, whether it be this corner, the far corner, you're guaranteed the same rigidity throughout the machining process.
They're talking about mould and dissect, and that
correct.
Is, that is.
Yeah, and you've got a high-speed spindle, 24,000 RPM or 15,000 RPM, whatever you choose. I spoke to this gentleman who was from the US. He obviously went on about how accessible the machine was as well, how easy it was to load, and obviously talked about the Herco WinMax Control, which is very popular. And altogether, Herco are selling so many machine tools in the UK and around the world. This is just another model that's going to complement everything.
What do you think this was brought to market?
Okay.
Hard metal machining, tool making, and down to envelopes,
well,
and aerospace.
Okay,
as well.
We're talking Open Mind Hypermill. We did a swarf with them not long ago.
Loved going around this stand.
I've held that. I've touched that.
Yeah, with gloves on.
We did a tour of the stand, and we were talking about all the parts that they were showing off. As you always get with CAD CAM providers, they show off some wonderful components, you know, because that's the draw, isn't it? But there was the basketball net, there was
that's phenomenal, wasn't it?
Which is superb. Which they're talking about how they work with the anti-collision, so you don't collide where you're machining, and also parts that maybe are not so pretty but show lots of metal removal.
Well, they need to show the extent of what
their
software
basketball
is
net. I mean, that's fantastic. There's like 99%. Plus metal removal.
I know that's the cosmetic part, but if you break it all down, there are elements of that, integral in any machining process.
Yeah, correct. And then this is your max machining process, where Ken's obviously showing how you can improve your cycle times by up to 95 or 90%.
Just by holding it in your hand.
Just by you don't use a machine tool anymore. Put that tool in your hand.
Joe, Mazak.
Yeah, the HCR, it's basically a horizontal 5-axis machine. And the big thing I like about this is you can't get better for swarf evacuation. The head at the table does actually go, it's upside down, so obviously the swarf would drop out. I see this great for automotive, I see it great for aero structures.
30,000 RPM.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and they're talking about jerk rates, which we don't often touch on.
No.
They're talking about the jerk rate on this, and it's always good to...
We all talk about acceleration, don't we? But you don't necessarily...
Quick point to point, exactly. Certainly for lots of metal removal. And like you say, with the table turning upside down completely...
Yeah, you like this one. Wasn't this your favourite
machine? It was one of my favourites. It turns upside down, and obviously the swarf falls away.
And it's actually client demand that's brought this machine to market.
Is that right?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
the
quite
rigidity of the spindle as well, being horizontal.
Being in a horizontal plate, the part moving to
we're going to have to talk Leadwell.
Oh yeah, this is another new machine that was launched at the show. This is the LTC. Leadwell, obviously very well known for their vertical machining centres. They sell hundreds of them every year. And I mean, the UK market is a big market for them, but maybe not so well known in turning. Here you've got a 24-point indexing.
Why have they chosen that a new market then?
Well, they have been selling lathes for a long time, but they've done so well with their VMCs that they've introduced lathes, entry-level lathes, which have sold well, and now they've gone, right, well, it's the next step. Let's go for multi-axis.
You wouldn't expect 24 station, would you? Is that half index?
It's half index. Yeah. I mean, which is great because you need more tools, certainly if you're getting a sub-spindle. This machine just had a y-axis on it, it, but it is available with a sub spindle. They go bigger as well.
And small machines, isn't it?
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, Lead
Small
Machine
footprint,
Tools
isn't
are very well known and renowned for supporting Leadwell for over 30 years, and Mike Heapy's obviously very pleased to be able to offer multi-axis turning.
Well,
it's the first time it's seen in the UK. If you go around the Midlands, how many machine shops have Leadwells?
Right, Star.
Okay, yeah, this is the SW12. This is obviously one of the smallest machines they supply. This has twin platens, so you can do balance turning, and there's no competition for this machine.
Smallest machine on the market with platen.
Why,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's down to the fact that you've got the double platen, so you can basically do balance turning, and a lot of sliding head manufacturers focus on bigger markets now. You know,
sliders are getting bigger rather than smaller, aren't they? But arguably components are getting smaller. So.
And it's also guide bush and non-guide bush as well, which obviously lots of.
We all know that. Yeah.
So you can go from one to the other in 30 minutes. I believe Matt sold a few of these machines at the show.
Really?
But
well, we spoke to all their customers as part of our Swarf and Chip special. It was so good because it was nice to actually hear from a different perspective as opposed to the sales guys.
HFT ready as well.
Yeah. Bison chucks.
Yeah, we were on the XYZ stand with Mike, and we're looking at the chucks that they're supplying to XYZ and the tool stations. And the chuck was bored out to suit the machine spindle bore. So it just illustrates that they can do bespoke solutions as well as standard tooling, and they've got a huge range of work holding available now, not just the chucks, tool stations,
Do they manufacture in Poland?
Yeah, they've got a fantastic manufacturing facility in Poland, state of the art.
I didn't realise how state of the art it was.
So when you buy a chuck, don't they have them a certain spindle diameter in them then? And
yeah, some come as standard bore, but they're actually boring that one out to suit the XYZ machine, so you can utilise the machine bore to get larger parts down the spindle.
To bury it down. Is that the only machine? Did he tell you any jokes while you were there?
He told me lots
so
of jokes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
He does loads of accents and everything. Yeah. Oh, he's fab.
So no, they've got a great range,
but great customer service as well. That's what they.
And that was the other thing as well, Lyndsey. That XYZ gave a testimonial about Bison too.
Okay, DMG Mori.
Did you've seen this, haven't you?
This is a machine and a half.
It's all to do with grinding, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Well, it's it's basically obviously it's a 5-axis milling machine essentially with a turning function like that eccentric turning. I couldn't program eccentric turning.
No.
Well, maybe I could if I was operating this machine tool because it's very.
Easy.
I won't say iPad, but it's similar to an iPad.
User friendly.
It's conversational, question and answer, and it does it for you essentially.
The grinding capability.
But bringing the grinding wheel in here. I mean, some of the things that I challenged Neil on was things like grinders produce grinding paste, and you need the environment needs to be correct to be able to do grinding. Also, how do you dress the wheel? How do you hold a tool of that weight?
Yeah. 800 RPM, which doesn't sound a lot. We talk about feed rates and spindle speeds. That's a large component.
I suppose this machine is very much aimed
RPM.
for that sort of one-stop shop, but on bigger components, effectively.
They say there's a big demand for it because a part like this, work in progress, is expensive.
Yeah.
You take it off the machine and move it around, you're risking.
Carfull & Group.
Well, we've talked about tool setters already, haven't we?
Okay.
And I mean, this is one from the Carfull & Group, the Zolla. Lee here, we did a whole tour of the stand talking about all the different 4 businesses within it. Lee actually sold a tool setter on the stand from the show, which he was dead chuffed about, purely because if you sell something at the show, you know that you've competed against everybody because they've looked at everything.
Yes.
If you're spending a lot of money on a machine tool, how important is it to actually have a tool setter?
It's hugely important, and it's often dismissed as well.
It reduces downtime.
And then the 3D printing side, SYS, they had a big presence there. Nice pineapple there, which
it looks real.
Well, you could have some of that.
We've got a cycle time challenge on that coming up in a week or two's time. They've got Vici Vision and OGP for metrology. Good tour of the stand, very well laid out. We've talked about what were the nice stands at the show.
It's quite nice. The four companies complement each other, don't they?
It worked really well, and having a different product manager on each product as well is good because it can almost be a different company.
Right, NCMT.
Did you see this guy? He was fantastic, wasn't he?
Second year apprentice.
Yeah.
When I was a second year apprentice, I'd be talking you through a knurling tool on the manual lathe.
Did you do an apprenticeship?
No.
They had all of their demos were done by apprentices.
What a great touch, though. Well, and the presentations,
Yeah, they were really
second year apprentices presenting to people.
Did you see the dribble tray on this?
Oh, no, I'm sure there's a joke in somewhere.
No, when they first put this machine out there, they were basically saying that it looks so nice, it needs a dribble tray.
Right, okay.
And it's true. Yeah. It is a wonderful looking machine. Not that that's everything, but it's an Akuma. You know,
yeah, I like the Akuma take on thermal stabilisation rather than control a machine. They're controlling, not the controlling the elements, they're controlling the
and the amount of
machine
machines
software.
NCMT are selling Akuma is fantastic at the moment.
And it wasn't last. We got this one, G-Man. You were talking.
Yeah, we're talking to Matt Janess about his work holding range, and Microlock has lasted the test of time. Really, you know, it's been going such a long time, and it's still out in the market now, and he can't sell enough. And it's also now evolved into the pneumatic range of Microlock, and this is to accommodate for robot loading, and they're looking into the future. But not only this, they're manufacturing their riser blocks for the 5th axis machines to present more components to the spindle with eccentric grippers. They've got 0-point systems. So for any milling application, whether it be on a 3-axis, 4th axis, 5th axis machine, Microlock have got a great solution for
that new 5-axis device have sold loads of those. Obviously they launched it on swarf and chips, not just as a result of the program, I'm sure, but he's had a lot of sales.
Great product.
Nice suit as well.
Yeah, lovely
really?
suit.
Do you think so?
We picked that up, didn't we, at the show?
Yeah, we picked that up.
Primani.
The business has expanded a lot, hasn't it? And you know, more products to complement.
They've now gone into tailoring.
So this is a pneumatic range.
Right, filter me, Shens, filter me.
Yeah, we know that your customer Joe. We know that Filter Mist have also always supplied filtration for wet environments, but now they've brought out filtration for dry environments for dust. So they're adding to their range really.
Machining, for instance.
Yeah, all different industries. It surprised me, Mark, how it all works. But it's something to definitely get in touch with Filter Mist about if you've got any kind of, you know, everyone's becoming more environmentally conscious now. The machine environment is a lot cleaner now.
So I'd love to know their market share. You don't. It's a bit like buying a Hoover.
Yes.
You know, you buy a Hoover, whether it's a Dyson, it's still a Hoover, isn't it? And everyone says, "I need a filter mist."
They've done a fabulous job in the UK, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, environmentally friendly.
Up, I think.
Environmentally friendly. And so, I mean, Joe only has one plastic trade meal a day now.
All the time, every time.
No comments. No comments.
Right, Tebis and Grove.
Yeah, we're with Tebis, and they've got fantastic software solutions for all applications. But in particular, we discussed their new 5th axis software that they're pushing at the show, and effectively it's just to increase efficiency, productivity. The service and support from Tebis is second to none, and they've got, you know, really good products available.
What's the highlights of what they're talking about though on their 5-axis machine in there? What's the key?
Well, basically they're doing all features, Paul. So they weren't just showing one particular feature. All features that you'd associate with 5th axis machining. Also conical barrel cutting, you know, which we've touched on before.
Machining,
deep pocket machining. Any 5th axis application they've got covered, and they will support the customer from start to finish on any component.
And I suppose with CAD CAM, it's all about the support as well.
Of course, I mean, it's becoming more important, you know, to have that support as technology is evolving. You know, you can't program it by hand no more.
And they're growing quick.
Massive,
Okay, something that we talk about a lot is automation and Tame.
Again, these Tame here went back to their roots in supplying or showing off their standard jaws, which they manufacture still in Aylesbury, don't they?
Yep.
Right the way through to a full automation solution and everything in between. So you've got 3-4 jaw chucks, a Sam Chully range, and also their Lang range, which is so popular, isn't it? You see it everywhere.
Yes.
You know, it was on the stand. You see it there. There's so many different types of products.
You don't want to sell against it. Oh, not another one.
Go back to the chat though. You asked him a question about the why 4 jaws, didn't you?
Yeah, and I can't remember what his answer was.
Self-compensating, I believe. Self-compensating.
What's the rest of the videos?
And he says the most popular. All the videos can be seen obviously on MTD@Mac.com. But these, we're talking about the Lang vices, the grippers on there. They have that. What do they call it? That serration, which they do, and they say that that's one of the big reasons. But often you might
that one
think
there's held on 3mm. That one has got that big extent. You
okay, next XYZ.
Yeah, I went onto the stand, and 3D printers have been predominantly renowned for prototyping, but they've brought out this new 3D printer now, and it's for production. And we were discussing the applications that this 3D printer would lend itself to, and it is for a production environment. And something that I learned as well on the stand was, I always thought that you could 3D print a part that was solid, but he was showing us some of the parts that you could move, so like hinges, for example, and it's an absolutely phenomenal piece of kit.
What I like about it is a multi-jet printer, so it's as quick to do 100. If they fit on the build tray, it's as quick to do do 100 is one, because you're passing over the whole build tray.
Is it surprising? You know, they sell machines to take metal out, but selling these to actually add.
It's where you know, 5 years time, there'll be another 10 players offering similar products. There will. It is a growing market. Growing market.
Additives.
But it was only not long back that we thought, well, you know, we're moving on.
Yeah,
to
we're
Chroma.
moving on. Chroma.
Well, they've just brought out new swarf management systems. You know, they are well renowned for making swarf management systems here in the UK, and they had a great testimonial from Lawrence McCann on their swarf management systems and how important they are. A lot of the time, swarf management systems, you know, people take them for granted, and it's an integral part of the machine tool now. Because
is it like an afterthought?
It is an afterthought for some people, but when you're buying a machine tool to get chip removal rates at such a speed now, if your swarf management system's not getting rid of that swarf, you've got a big problem.
Modern machines,
you've got to get it out.
HCR for Mazak, removing all that aluminium.
You've got to get it out of the machine. If you don't, you stop the machine.
And manufactured in the UK?
All in the UK, service and support. And the swarf management systems, don't forget, are not the only products that Chroma do. So they've got lots of different products. So you need to get onto their website. And
when I sold my first machine, I sold it without a swarf conveyor because I thought it came with one, but it didn't. And the customer phoned me up and he said, "Where's my swarf conveyor?" And I said, "You don't need one."
What did you say? At Chroma, just give me a look.
You do realise we're filming live. There we go. Well, we all make mistakes. Anyway. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
And pleasure. And it was just a quick update on Mac. So if you missed the show, you know, you don't have to worry. Watch all of the videos. We've got them on the comments box below, and the website is, Paul?
It's mtd@mac.com. Don't forget, we've got an Anchor Takeover show next week as well.
Thank you. So what do we always say at the end of every show? Keep those spindles turning.